This looks like a regular laptop when you open it up at first. That's what you see and you're like, oh, that's not special. It's just a thick laptop. But aha, that's where they get you. Now, take a look at this. This keyboard, it comes off and it becomes this. What's better than having one screen on your laptop? Two screens, a keyboard and a stylus. And this is just like some Transformers level stuff. In this video, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the ASUS Zenbook Duo while I've had it. Duo is for like 2 OLED screens. And here's everything you should know about it. Without further ado, let's get to it. Starting with what you'd get in the box, you get a laptop, a foldable and hard paper that you can rest your laptop upon, manuals and some copy. There's a separate accessory box that has the power adapter, the charging cable and the ASUS pen, a second version of it. On my first impression, this laptop looks solid and it is built like a tank. Before I move on, you should hear the back of this laptop and how the metal sounds. This is like very solid stuff, and the whole build quality in general is just like sturdy. This metal plate is the laptop stand, and you can open it up to either stand this in with 2 screens on top of each other or 2 screens side by side. You get a full-size HDMI 2.1 port, the 3.5mm headphone port and the vents on the right side. On the left side, there are 2 Thunderbolt 4 USB-C ports capable of charging the laptop itself, 1 USB 3.2 Type A port that has a 5 gigabit per second inscription on it. There are vents and another USB-C port, but this one is for the keyboard, which fits right in. And after that, you get the Bluetooth switch for your keyboard and the charging indicator. You've got more vents at the back and it is just a sturdy build in general. When the keyboard is also outside the laptop, there is like a gap in between so that the screens don't touch each other. And there's like a rubber padding all around. The laptop is appropriately thick in my opinion. The weight further cements its sturdiness, and I like that ASUS kept their raise effect that happens when you open their laptops. So the keyboard of this laptop is detachable, and when it's attached, it sticks to the laptop via magnets. And there are pogo pins that ensure the data transfer is very fast between the keyboard and the screen, of course ensuring 0 latency. The pogo pins are flanked by 2 keys that are sort of stuck to the bottom part of the display in these wells. So when you're typing and your hands are resting on it, it doesn't have any friction and it's solidly stuck there. It doesn't move at all. Anyway, we'll talk more about the keyboard later. The ASUS pen here comes with 3 extra pen tips. You've got 2 buttons at the side, one for the eraser and another one for the right click. And there's a button at the top for Bluetooth connection when you press and hold it. It's very responsive too with the touch screens. You can just pull it up here and charge it. It just feels complete. The display of the 2024 Zenbook Duo is by far one of its standout features. As I mentioned earlier, the 2 displays on this laptop are OLED displays. It's a very impressive display considering just how much a good OLED display can improve your viewing experience. The deep blacks and vibrant colors are characteristics of OLED displays and they are obvious here as soon as you turn it on. It's quite the beauty to behold, to be honest, and apart from the OLED, it has some pretty interesting specs. The first one that really caught my attention is that you are getting a combined 6K display with these 2. Well, approximately. Each of these displays are 3K resolution, that's 2880 by 1800. And you also get as high as 550 nits of peak brightness, a 120Hz refresh rate, 0.2 milliseconds response rate for action displays, and it's able to display HDR content. ASUS claims that this is the most advanced OLED display available for consumer laptops right now. And that is a bold claim. It looks it though. Still, after using this display for day-to-day activities, work, and streaming content, I have to say that it did a really great job here. All of the great features and specs of this display means that it covers 100% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, aka vivid colors. It also emits 70% less blue light to keep your eyes safe, and it has a contrast ratio of 1,000,000:1. You can also increase the brightness for each display, by the way. You can choose to brighten this one up and darken this one. While all of these are great, there's more to the display than just the specs. Let's talk about the display modes. Having 2 high quality displays are not useful if it is not functional, and ASUS was careful to set this up to be as functional as possible with the multiple display modes. You can obviously use this as regular laptops when the keyboard is attached to the bottom of the screen. So if you're on a flight, for instance, or in a confined space where you cannot flex your dual screen setup, then you would have to use it as a normal laptop. You have to get the most out of it. All right, this is where things get really interesting. You can use this dual screen in a number of ways. Now, if you have more workspace to work with on a desk, you can use your dual screen with the Bluetooth wireless keyboard and detach it like this so everything stands. It is very grand and it would activate automatically. You can use the kickstand on the back to make it high like this, prop it up, and it's a pretty cool setup. I like this one. I think this is my preferred setup to work with the ASUS Zenbook Duo. This is really good for people who are doing work that may require referencing, having like Photoshop on the top and then your image at the bottom, or Lightroom at the top and your eventual results. DaVinci Resolve and something else, maybe like a tutorial or something. You can even have like a meeting on one screen and your notes at the bottom of the screen. There's a lot of combinations that you can do. Still on the kickstand, you can also set this vertically and it will automatically rotate. So this is what that looks like. ASUS calls this the desktop mode. This is more for people who are writers or programmers that prefer to interact with things vertically from side to side. Apart from these two modes, you can also use this as a standalone system without any keyboard. Let me explain. When you take the magnetic keyboard out of the way, you can touch the bottom of the display with 6 fingers. That's 3 on each side, just like that. And it becomes a keyboard. This is very functional with like your trackpad. You have the right click here. You can do everything that you would do with a keyboard normally. Type. So with this, you get a full-size keyboard, the trackpad, and everything on the second screen. Now, I'm not sure if this is something most people will use, but I think it's a cool addition. I think it's also worth mentioning that there are multiple configurations for how this can be set up and how you can use it to maximize productivity. You can scroll just like that. You can use the pen to interact with it. And everything is just like so many use cases for this. If you don't want to use this keyboard, you can just cancel it out here and use the pen and interact with your display as normal with 2 screens. This is more for people who are like artistic and want to draw or something. You can just have 2 displays with a very interesting pen and have a go at it. Just do your thing. Finally, there's sharing mode, and as the name implies, it allows you to share content with the person sitting opposite you. Basically, it changes the orientation of the 2 screens. One will face the other direction and the other will face you. And the same thing can even display for both of you if you turn on mirroring, or you can display something different. They can be doing something else while you're doing something else. One thing I really appreciate is that ASUS maintained the same level of quality on both these screens. This means that you can use both screens without any trade-offs. And again, I'll be testing out these modes and everything for different use cases in my full review. So make sure you subscribe for when that drops. Personally, this is my favorite mode, but I want to hear your thoughts. Which one is your favorite mode out of all the ones we've shown you guys? All right, let's talk about this keyboard. It is a pretty solid keyboard in terms of the size and the thickness, and the travel distance is actually good. It's not the thickest keyboard, but it is very tactile and it's very comfortable to type on. I've typed on this for quite some time and I genuinely like the typing experience as well. I don't feel like I'm missing anything from a standard laptop by having a detachable keyboard like this. It works really well. On the side of the keyboard, you will notice the battery indicator, the Bluetooth switch that allows you to wirelessly connect to this after detaching it. And by the way, it's got Bluetooth 5.2 connection. And of course, it has a Type-C port for charging it. And speaking of charging, it is worth noting that this keyboard also charges when it is attached to the laptop, whether it's turned on or not. This way, there's a very slim chance that your battery will die unannounced. ASUS is quoting 7 to 10 days of battery life for this keyboard, and this will be at its most efficient level, which is a very bold promise to make. I will have to test it out myself to see how well it holds up, but I actually think it will. With regards to the specs of this laptop, the performance is supposed to be the strongest suit. In fact, I think it's safe to say that most of the functionality that this device offers is made possible by the tech that is under the hood. The ASUS Zenbook Duo 2024 is powered by Windows 11 Pro, Intel's latest Core Ultra 9 and Arc graphics. It's supposed to be the most powerful Intel chip yet, and in the very short time I've had it, I think it held up pretty nicely. I'll be sharing more of my thoughts again, and as I'm using this and I'm pushing the limits with intensive tasks, gaming, editing, multitasking, I want to actually try and edit a video with this. Now, this laptop does not have a dedicated GPU. However, thanks to the Intel Meteor Lake family of chips, it comes with a neural processing unit that is supposed to process tasks quicker, more efficiently, and it's supposed to make the laptop powerful enough to use AI tools and process them locally without having access to the cloud. For storage, you get 2 terabytes of SSD here and 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is great, and I think it fits right with me for performance. And also the sound is by Harman Kardon. Can't go wrong with that. The battery on this laptop is a 75 watt-hour battery capacity, and ASUS is quoting 13 hours of runtime for this battery, which is yet again a bold claim. In the time I've had it, I noticed that it was on for about 3 days while on standby. I used it for a few tests like short typing sessions, watching videos, and a bit of research. Apart from this, it was on standby for a while without shutting down, and the battery did not deplete. If and when it dies, you can give it a boost with the 65 watt charger that comes in the box. And keep in mind though that this will take one of the 2 Type-C ports that are available. There are other fun stuff that you can get from the ASUS Zenbook Duo 2024. And first off, you have a full HD camera at the top here. It also has an infrared function and supports Windows Hello, which brings me to the next point. When it comes to unlocking the device, you can either use Face Unlock, which works even when you've just started the laptop, but you can also use a PIN or password. You also get Screen Expert that aids your interaction with having many screens and windows that may have been open at the time, so it can like section them. I honestly can't wait to test out more of this laptop and share them with you guys. What I think is the best thing about this laptop, all things considered, is the price point. I think I was actually shocked by the price. You'll be spending a little over 2.1 million naira on this laptop. With the features you've seen so far, do you think it's worth it? Just drop a comment below. And would you pick one for yourself if you had the money? Be sure to check out the first link in the description below for the best price of this laptop on the ASUS official website. And if you're curious to know, ASUS made one of the thinnest OLED laptops in the world. So click here to check that out. I'll see you in that video.